Hi there, little boy. What's your name?
My name's Glen.
Glen. Okay, Glen with two N's, specifically two N's.
What?
What do you want for Christmas? Come on, hurry up. There's people waiting.
I want my grandmother to come see us. We haven't seen Grandma in a while. I'm a grandma's boy.
Well,
I miss
Grandma's
Grandma.
probably dead, so how about you move along?
No, she's in the mountains. She's exploring.
Okay, it sounds like she's dead. So yeah, spoiler alert. Your grandma's probably dead.
Oh.
The following podcast contains spoilers for Bad Santa. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glen Button, along with your silly Santa friend, Miguel Magusto.
Oh, fudge. But I didn't say fudge.
Oh.
I said the big one. The F dash 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 word. I'm wearing a Christmas sweater that has
Funds?
Ralphie from Christmas Story on it. Everyone but
That makes
you
sense.
got that joke because
Yeah.
you can't see me right now.
You did tell me you were going to be wearing different sweaters, but I can't
Yes.
picture them until I see the podcast. So
Yes.
that's fun.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm in a little get up myself. I'm wearing the holiday colors.
Oh, look at you.
You like that?
I
You
do.
like that?
I don't see it, but I like it.
Yeah, the hat's got to come off though. It's a little too toasty in here.
Oh, you had a hat. I don't have any hats.
Lucky bastard. But I'm doing okay. The holidays are here, baby.
Yes.
Yes.
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Joyous Kwanzaa, and any other ones that I missed and don't know about. Happy all those things. Boxing Day for you Canadians and Brits, I believe, also celebrate that.
Yeah, they're doing something.
Happy
Probably
New
something
Year's,
with Tesco or I don't know, Tesco meal deals or
Tesco?
something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
No idea.
How you doing though?
God, I'm for some reason a couple months later, I'm still struggling with car issues. Let me tell you about my day that I had
It's
2
definitely not
months
because
ago.
we're recording this the day before
Definitely-
Halloween.
Definitely not today. This was definitely 2 months ago, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like today started out absolutely crazy. I still don't have a car, so I had to ride my bike that I bought 2 years ago and never actually rid to work. Which,
That's
by
a
the way,
hike.
it is 10 miles.
Yep. I'm tired just thinking about it.
Yeah, luckily it's an assisted bike, like an e-bike, where there's levels to how fast you want it to go for you. Started off, I started riding it, flat tires. Had to go to Wawa, pump the tires. Then after that, it's been raining all the last 2 days. So just
May I interject?
Please do.
For those of you who don't live in a place that has Wawa, if you use the car tire pumps to blow up your bike pumps, your bike wheels, people hate you.
That's all right.
So
I had flat tires, so
I'm not
fuck
saying
anybody
that
else.
I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying that people will hate you if you are taking up the bike the pump spot.
Yeah, luckily there was nobody else getting air or wanted to get air
That's
as
good.
I did.
That's good,
But
yeah.
The pump that I had at home was not working, so I had to walk a mile with my bike to get to the Wawa to do that. And then I got wet ass from all of the wet leaves and everything riding on top of them to get to work. So I've had a doozy of a fucking day. And then I couldn't even ride my bike back to work. I had to get a ride because it was raining on my way back home. That was like 2 months ago. I'm not still hurting over it. Anyway, that was my day so far.
Yes.
How was your day?
My day, is that how you're using your 2 minutes, by the way?
Yep, pretty
Okay.
much.
My day was pretty good, except for about 2 hours ago, I fell down the stairs while holding my boy.
Oh,
Not the newborn, because he's not alive yet at the time of recording this.
oh yeah.
So the 2.5-year-old.
Are you both okay?
I got a slightly banged up. The walls in my house are plaster. My elbow still somehow went through one of them.
Jesus.
Not as far as it would have if it was drywall, but there's an obvious dent, and my elbow hurts. And then my knee went into the banister of my staircase.
Oh God. Yeah.
So that hurt more than the
actual
the wall.
Plowing of a wall.
Yeah. But my boy's perfectly fine. He didn't get hurt.
That's good.
Once I put him down because
You had to kill him?
No. Put him down on the ground. He ran away and hid. He went like this, like covering his face with his his hands.
I see that. Yeah.
Because he's an adorable baby boy, and I screamed really loud in his ear probably because I hurt myself. So I made sure he knew it wasn't his fault or anything. So he started laughing at me. So everything was fine. Started stealing my ice packs and everything. But then I watched a few movies this week. First, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. We have a review for that on the YouTube.
Yep.
You also watched that.
I did.
So you could go over there to check that out. Then I watched Wes Anderson released a series of short films based on writings of Roald Dahl. There's 4 of them: The Rat Catcher, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, Poison, and The Swan. Those are all on Netflix. All pretty good, especially if you like Wes Anderson. They're very Wes Anderson-esque.
Yeah.
And I like them. I rewatched I Lost My Body, which is one of my favorite animated films.
I saw that.
Because Dev Patel is in a lot of the Wes Anderson shorts. And he does the English dub of I Lost My Body. So I rewatched that. And then I watched Bad Santa, which we're going to get into right now.
When it came to holiday spirit, Willie's never had it.
It's not real.
Well, it was real. I got sick and all the hair fell out.
How'd you get sick?
I loved a woman that wasn't clean.
Mrs. Santa?
No, it was her sister.
Oh, no.
Where's your sleigh?
It's in the shop.
Where's the reindeer?
I stable them.
Where's the stable?
Next to the shop.
How do they sleep?
Are you messing with me? There's something about the guy that makes me uneasy.
Now, a hopeless kid
Wedgie.
and a Santa nobody liked are teaching each other a lesson.
Is that your underwear?
Part of it.
Where the hell's the rest of it? Actually, don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Billy Bob Thornton, Bernie Mack, Tony Cox. Bad Santa.
I beat up some kids today, but it's for a purpose. It made me feel good about myself.
You need many years of therapy.
A miserable con man and his partner pose as Santa and his little helper to rob department stores on Christmas Eve, but they run into problems when the con man becomes friends with a troubled kid. Directed by Terry Zwigoff, written by Glen Ficarra and Jean Requa, and ghost written by the Coen brothers. Starring Billy Bob Thornton, Bernie Mac, Lauren Graham, John Ritter, Tony Cox, Brett Kelly, and others who are part of this. I picked this essentially because it is one of those movies that people are always surprised I hadn't seen before. It's very popular for reasons we will probably get into. And it just never really appealed to me until I found out that the Coen brothers wrote on it, doing some rewrites and everything, and were executive producers. So that kind of piqued my interest a little bit, and so that is why I picked it. And this is definitely a strange one to try to get into the holiday spirit with.
Yeah.
Of course, it's about an alcoholic who is a con man and plays Santa and curses at kids and everything, and yet somehow, for the most part, everyone is fine and no one punches him in the face.
He's the spirit animal we all hope to be, but never will be because we have self-pride.
I don't hope to be him ever.
I don't either.
He seems
some
like
people probably relate. I don't know.
I mean, I relate to the misanthropy part, the not liking people part of it.
Yeah.
But obviously not to his extent. He doesn't need to be doing this.
Yeah.
So he just, I don't know. It just kind of, I feel like.
But he's got to be supporting his alcoholism.
Yeah. This came out in 2003, just a short 2 years after 9/11, when everyone was kind of cynical, like at their cynical peak. We're cynical now for different reasons, but I feel like back then it was just like, what's even the point of anything? And now it's just like, hey, what's even the point of anything? Let's get drunk and shit.
Yeah.
So different kinds of cynicism and nihilism. And so I don't know. It's just a weird movie that I don't know if I really liked that much.
Okay.
It had its moments, but it's definitely a movie that has aged and not for, being offensive. It's barely even offensive. This how he talks, and this is how people talk to each other all the time now.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't have the same effect, I feel, that it probably did in 2003.
It's not necessarily like offensive to. I mean, there's some words that get thrown around that some people would get offended by, but I don't think they would. It's vulgar. Vulgar is definitely the word I would throw in there.
Vulgar is offensive to certain groups of people.
Yeah, well, they can be offended.
Yeah, but like it's not even vulgar for most people now. It's just how people talk.
Yeah.
Since the internet became mainstream.
If you're ever in a Discord session, I'm sure you're going to hear most of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is throwing back to what I said last week. This is a movie my parents played all the time around the holiday season. I've watched, I can't even tell you how many times. Mm-hmm. It was a lot. There's records being broken out there. Not because I wanted to watch it, just because it was on and they just turned it on. That's how cable worked, kids. They just turned something on. So it was either this or between Christmas Story or Elf or just any of those other ones, Nightmare Before Christmas even. This is one of the ones that get wrapped around that I can't even watch anymore. It's super hard. It's just it's a whole thing.
I could barely watch it this time, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, watching it back. I mean, it was fine to rewatch it, but I will not watch it for probably another decade again.
Yeah,
because it's been a decade since, or no, it's been 2 decades since. Jesus Christ, it's been 2 decades since it came out.
20 years ago.
I might have watched it last somewhere 2010, I think. But I'm okay with not watching it for another decade. Not that it's bad. Not that it's bad in any way. It was fun for the most part. Kind of nice to see a movie that was so, I guess, carefree. And like I said, vulgar. A lot of movies back then were both carefree and vulgar. They weren't worrying about upsetting anybody. They were just making a movie just to make a movie. And this was one of those movies for sure.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with, like, vulgarity or anything, because when done right, it can be really funny.
Yeah.
I think back then, the world was. I mean, this is before the big internet boom, which was probably like 2005, 2006. Whenever YouTube came around, is probably when it really blew up. And that's
like
also
3 or
around
4 years.
Yeah. So like, I think a lot of younger listeners might not realize that the world used to be publicly more quote unquote pure, where people didn't really curse in public that much unless they were drunk or in a fight
New Yorkers.
or New Yorkers. And now everyone does, which I, again, don't have a problem with. I think the idea of cursing in itself is stupid. It's based in xenophobia.
Well, I think you're fucking wrong.
Yeah. Well, fuck you. Every curse word that the English language has derives from Germanic origin, whereas words that mean similar things of Latin origin are not curse words. So it really does come from xenophobia to some extent. There were movies back then that would just do this to be funny, and then 20 years later, it's really only funny if you're clever with it, and I don't feel like they're clever with this. Like, they're just saying shit to say shit.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the shock value, but now that we say this shit every day, you gotta, be clever and witty with how you do it, and I don't think this movie lands that. Most of the time. It does have its moments. I feel like John Ritter's character, he was my favorite part because he was really when he was trying to be politically correct when talking about Tony Cox's character.
Yeah.
That's the part I was laughing at the most.
Yeah,
when
he just came off as that white guy who's trying to do good, and then
like rather than just saying a word and then like if they correct him being like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which is, the best way to go about it.
And
then say what you think it is. If someone corrects you, be like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, and then dug himself a hole and then just jumped in it.
Yeah, and him just kind of going around snooping and trying to be like managerial but really having no power for some reason, even though he caught one of them having sex in the dress rooms, which is enough to kick a customer out.
While we're on that scene,
so
it always pissed me off that they never showed who that was with him, because they never exactly said it was Lauren Graham's character.
And it's after they met, right?
Yeah, it is after they met, after they had their session in the car. But they never showed or said who it was he was doing it with. He said plus size woman. So you always thought he was just banging somebody else. And I looked in the trivia of this, and somebody in there finally confirmed that it was her. And now that's relieved from my brain, so I can rest easy.
And they called her a plus size woman, or was he just assuming?
He was just, I guess, assuming it was a plus size woman.
Okay.
So I don't know. He just kind of saw ankles. He didn't.
If that was like an assumption, or saying that Lauren Graham is a plus size woman, this country's more fucked than I ever thought, because she is not a plus size woman in the least.
Back then, she might have been a plus size woman.
I mean, even back then, not really. She's, one of. I think this was she in that. What's that show where she's the mom? Gilmore Girls.
Oh yeah.
And like she's like. I don't know.
She's not at all. She's fit.
Yeah.
but
that's why I'm hoping that the filmmakers weren't insinuating that she is.
I think it was just John Ritter. John Ritter's character was he just saw ankles, and they were in the plus size women's fitting rooms.
I didn't realize they were in the plus size dressing room.
I guess that's what it was. You didn't really see. You just saw dressing rooms. So
yeah.
I
maybe
there was like a sign he was just
quick.
banging some other woman that was plus size, but we never saw her. And then they never confirmed that it was her in the dressing room. They never talked about it at all.
Yeah.
So that was driving me crazy for so long, and somebody finally confirmed it. The relief.
This movie has a lot of really weird things going on in it. First of all, the first mall that they show them robbing, they get $111,000, and he's dreaming about getting out and all the things he would buy with it. And the fact that he thinks he could buy, or he might have, I don't know what the cost of things were in 2003, but could buy a house and a car and still have money to be open a successful business for $111,000 made me sad.
Well, I mean, for sure, if you wanted to get a place in a car, you could definitely do those things.
You could do down payments for a place.
And then,
and a car.
I don't even know if he was just going to straight up buy a place or what he was talking about there, but he also wanted to own a bar, which that on its own is just even more.
Well, what I'm saying is $111,000 is nowhere near retirement status.
Yeah.
That he was acting like it was.
Yeah.
But
listen, man, he had the alcohol flowing through his veins.
That's true. He wasn't thinking clearly.
Anything's possible when you can't feel anything.
And there's just a lot of really weird things. And I know this movie's not supposed to be it needs to be, but when he's kind of taking a break and he's going through his voicemails, and his answering machine rather, and he gets that one call from he's like, "Hi, you hit my car yesterday. I called your insurance company and they said they don't have a policy. So why would you get fake insurance but not a fake phone number?"
Yeah,
it's things that took me out of it for a second.
It shows that he's a piece of shit, but also the logic of him still giving a number out.
Yeah, maybe it's showing that he's just kind of stupid.
Yeah,
which he is. He is kind of stupid.
I guess it was just trying to paint the picture that he was a bad person, but not out in public, just through voicemails, through other people.
I mean, it's a nitpick for sure because it's not this movie's not the kind of movie that's supposed to be picked apart. But that really kind of
there's a lot of nitpicks
about
this movie.
Yeah.
There's so many cut details and just wardrobe details and just many things that you'll notice.
Disgusting booger makeup, and then in one shot it's there, and then the next shot it's not. Yeah,
the fact that Lauren Graham was banging nothing while they were in the car. She was literally just on the seat, and the Santa hat was on the like headrest part, I think. So it was just her in the car. Billy Bob Thornton wasn't in there at all.
I didn't notice that, but
yeah, like
that's
you don't
probably
notice
something
it
that
at
was in the
first.
contract.
But so like when I was originally watching this, I was making money, shall we just say? And then when I got home, I had to kind of rewatch a part, and I had to kind of skip forward, and it got like Pluto does ads, so it would only let you fast forward so far. So like I had to rewatch that scene right before it went to the ads, and like I rewatched that scene, I'm like, he's not even in that fucking car. It's just her in the car seat. That's insane. But there's so many nitpicks about this movie. You could just run through it all. Like he changes shirts and all that shit, and yeah, it's not that type of movie. So no normal person besides us or any other critiques are gonna really pick it apart. But we can't really pick it apart. It's not that type of movie to pick apart like that. Yeah. It's just a vulgar. One thing I do want to say that I want to get your opinion on.
Sure.
So when Therman Merman is getting bullied by these kids, did you ever think for a second that Sum 41 was ever in a movie, like the band?
Like those kids look like them, or
they looked exactly like Sum 41, man.
Yeah, I could see them designing the characters after Sum 41 because Sum 41, I'm pretty sure was around. Yeah, they definitely were because I remember I heard about them in 6th grade, and that was 2001, 2002. So they're definitely around at this point.
So I just want to put a picture of the kid who looked like the lead singer of Sum 41 and the kid that was in the movie.
Yeah, I'll try to remember to do that.
But
but yeah, like when that was happening, I kept thinking like this kid reminds me of someone. You nailed it. Like that's exactly what it is.
It's just that guy and then a bunch of band members, but it's just a bunch of kids. It's not even them, obviously.
It's I was going to sing a Sum 41 song, but I can't remember it.
I don't want to waste my time. Whatever. I haven't listened to Sum 41
in years. Deep them too.
Because
I'm in too deep and I'm trying to...
All the songs in my head that I'm trying to remember the lyrics.
My favorite song of theirs is like from their last album.
Their last album? Oh, wow.
I don't know if it is. They broke up. I don't know if they got back together after this, but they broke up after they recorded it. Okay, so... Yeah, the band, they have a lot. Chuck, it's from Chuck.
We're all
to blame. Yeah,
that was after this movie came out.
Hey, I stopped listening to pop punk.
Yeah,
probably 2003, 2004, and then moved on to metal. And I listen to both now, but like when you're a teenager, you hyper focus on something.
Yeah,
and kind of ignore everything else. So I transitioned into heavier stuff, and now I'm kind of like whatever.
They got a lot of great songs, but
we're all to blame
in this movie. That's all I'm saying.
How dare you bully Therman Merman?
Therman Merman, man.
Therman Merman.
Also, no fault to the kid, but ever since I watched this in 2003, to this very day, this kid has annoyed the living fuck out of me. And that's his purpose in the movie. He's supposed
Therman
to be...
Merman?
Yeah, man. No fault to the actual dude. No fault to him. He did his job. He did it really good. But holy hell, that's his purpose in this movie, was to just burn my retinas out.
I always hate it in movies where there's like a fat kid character and they never get him clothes that fit correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's making him into a joke. Which is such like an old way
especially
of
with the
thinking.
short shorts and everything too.
Yeah, the short shorts, because they made like when my dad was a fat kid growing up, he said that they didn't really make clothes in his size. But the time that I was a kid, and I'm older than this kid is, they made clothes in bigger sizes. When I was a kid, I was never as big as he is. I'm probably proportionally that big now. I'm also taller though, so I think I carry it better. But like when I was a kid, they made clothes that fit. So like it's to me obvious that the director's being like, let's make this fat kid look funny.
Well, it was also around this time is when we were wearing a lot of baggier clothes too.
Yeah, I mean, but he's also supposed to be like a pariah.
Yeah,
so he's not supposed to be with the crowd. Well, unless he had grown weight really fast or gained weight really fast, I don't think he would. His parents, who like while being kind of negligent, seemed to actually love him. His grandma and his dad, who was in prison. I don't think that they would have, bought clothes for him that didn't fit.
Well, there would be a kind of thing like bigger kids when they're younger kind of get picked on for their weight, obviously. So they normally they kind of wear.
I was also a foot taller than everyone, so no one really wanted to mess with me.
Yeah, but most, I shall say, that they kind of wear bigger clothes to kind of hide the fact that they are bigger.
That is accurate. That is true.
For him, he's kind of so innocent that he doesn't like everybody picks on him, but he doesn't really give a shit, and he's in his own world. So not that these guys thought maybe that far ahead. They were just kind of let's give him really small clothes and just really point out all his flaws and just let him be in his own entity.
Yeah, I'm more just mad at like adults making the kid the butt of the joke. Yeah, beyond personality. Like if a kid's playing a character and the character's personality is funny, that's one thing. But when it's a physical thing that the kid more or less doesn't really have any control over, like yes, technically he has control over, but it's like losing weight's hard. It's even harder when you're a kid.
Especially after this movie, I can only imagine how much shit he probably got after it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where my mind was at. It was just like they did not have this kid's best interest in mind when they made him wear that. I probably wouldn't even think that way if I wasn't a fat kid growing up. Again, I was like 6 feet tall by the time I was 12, so I always carried it pretty well. But it's I don't know. I'm always, admittedly, probably overly sensitive to stuff like that. But it's just I was feeling for the kid with that.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like he's still acting, I think. He's in the sequel that came out, which I haven't seen, obviously.
I'm glad you mentioned, because I had no fucking idea that there was a sequel until I was looking on IMDb for this, and then that popped up. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah. I'd be interested to watch it just to see how it changes 13 years later.
He's in that Trick or Treat movie.
The one that we almost had for Spectacular Spooktober. And he's done a lot. He's still doing stuff. I'm happy for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't seem to mess him up too bad. And he's in the sequel of Bad Santa.
Yeah, so kept going with it.
Yeah, it seems like it didn't really affect him too much, if at all. Again, I could be overly sensitive to it, but I just know what it's like to be a fat kid growing up, and don't really want people to make it harder than it already is, even though I had it better than most fat kids because I was tall too. But yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not a huge fan of this movie. I wouldn't outright say it was bad. It did have some pretty funny moments. It had some.
We did it at the same time. There's super random moments too.
Yes, yeah, like what was with
AJ Naidu?
Naidu, like just coming up to him and saying I'm not gay.
I'm assuming that he was a closeted homosexual.
Well, yeah, I got that, but like, what was the point?
There wasn't one.
Exactly.
It was more just a segue of trying to get the kid and Santa like in cahoots, I guess.
Yeah, there's better ways they could have done it. Like they could have.
Yeah, it was super random, and then nothing happened with it after. Yeah. Like it could have been like an ongoing joke of like maybe they kept running into each other. Yeah, or something like that. I thought that would have been funny.
And this is after Office Space, so like people around this time would have recognized him from Office Space.
Yeah, like I think the scene was funny, but it was just very random and nothing happened after that.
If it had come up later, like I overall really like the story of this, but if he had like been rude and unintentionally helped people, like he said something to that guy that made him realize he's in the closet and needs to come out and everything. Not even trying to help him, just kind of being an asshole. Yeah. But like the whole tough love thing. And then he came back later and helped Billy Bob Thornton in a situation. And be like, what you said really helped me. That would have made sense. Maybe it been a little cheesy, but like at least it wouldn't have been just completely random with a relatively well-known actor of the time, and then just nothing come of it.
Yeah, there's not too much going on. John Ritter, he died like right before they finished this movie, didn't he?
Yeah, he died while filming his show 8 Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter, which then later, after he died, was just like 8 Simple Rules. He died while he was in this trailer filming, when they were filming that or whatever. And that was around the time that this was coming out. So I think he died probably a few months before that. And that's why he's in the credits, in memoriam.
For memoriam, yeah.
But yeah, John Ritter, I feel like he had a great comedic sense to him that I feel like a lot of people, because he died relatively young and is mainly known for Three's Company, didn't really get to share as much as he probably could have. But yeah, he's hilarious. He's one of my favorite parts in this. Bernie Mac was surprisingly, I don't want to say unfunny, but like I expected more from him.
He was, his character was one note. So
yes, it was the character. Not so much
I know
him.
he's got range.
Oh yeah, well, I love Bernie Mac. He's one of my favorite comedic.
My
comedians.
favorite part with him, other than all the absolutely random shit that he did, like eating the oranges. Just chowing down on fucking oranges, slugging some laxative water. But the one thing that I actually fucking laughed out loud when he did it, totally accidental, but when he's like frisking this kid for the video games that he's stealing, he takes it out of the kid's pants and he goes to throw it back onto the shelf and it lands perfectly back on the shelf. Like you would just find it on the shelf like that.
Yeah.
And I started laughing. Because I'm like, damn, he fucking nailed that. And then the very next shot, they put it so it's like off kilter on the shelf. I'm like, no, man.
Why would you ruin that? Why would you ruin that?
But that part had me laughing pretty hard for no reason. I was like, I didn't expect him to make that. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
But he was good. He was definitely one note, and I don't think that was his fault at all.
He was miscast, if you ask me. He should have been another role that had more.
I love
comedic.
Bernie too. He's amazing.
I think I told you when we were doing the what was it? God damn it! What show was it? My brain. It's Blue Beetle with George Lopez.
Yeah.
George Lopez and the Bernie Mac show used to, when I would stay up late night during college, used to play back to back on different channels, but they would play back to back, and I used to watch them all the time. Greatest time of my life. Never been happier than to just eat Domino's pizza late at night watching Bernie Mac.
The Bernie Mac show is just so
if I didn't know any better, I would say I was a pothead, because that sounds like something a pothead would do.
You're missing everything but you got everything but the substance. That's for sure.
Yes. I get high on pizza.
God damn, who doesn't?
Yes. Apparently potheads.
Them damn Italians did something real good.
I knew oregano smelled familiar.
I'm trying to think of some other things about this movie.
Yeah.
I wish Tony Cox was in more. I know that's a little kind of hard to do.
Well, that's the thing. I wish people would stop casting based on body type.
Yeah.
And just cast on personality.
Yeah.
Which we're starting to see more and more. Body type is less
because he was in
written, but
let me fact check this before I sound like an asshole. Oh, he wasn't in Me, Myself, and Irene. Who was that?
No, Tony Cox is in it. Is it Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yeah, why didn't I see it in his credits?
I don't know, because how old do you think Me, Myself, and Irene is?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, God damn it! I didn't see the See All. I'm like, damn, there's no way that's how many movies he did.
No, he's in a lot.
All right, so anyway, he is in Me, Myself,
so
and
you're
Irene.
not an asshole.
So I'm not an asshole. But yeah, I wish he was in more, because he's great in both this and that movie.
There's
and I'm
a
sure he's
lot
great
of-
in others. I
there's
just
a
don't
lot
remember
of-
any of his other stuff.
There's a lot of dwarf performers who I think should be in more. I mean, I love Peter Dinklage, but he's not the only good dwarf performer there is, or little person performer. I know some people like dwarf, some people like little person. I can't please everybody.
But stay safe with little person.
The little person, yeah, I guess that is probably better. But yeah, like there's the little person who's in Bruges, who I hate that I don't know his name, and I apologize. But he's really good too. So I really wish that they would just stop worrying about body type when writing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Prentice, who plays Jimmy in Bruges, he's fantastic. And it's Tony Cox is one of the best actors there is. It's just he happens to be a little person, so
yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
What really else is there? This is just like a very if you've got a rougher neck part of your family, this is definitely a movie for them. That's for sure.
It is kind of trashy.
Yeah.
Not in like a bad way.
Not super trashy. Like it's.
Yeah.
I mean, the character is Willie.
I think it's not necessarily what I want from a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
I admit it has its audience, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm not like upset that it exists. I want something like either uproariously, ridiculously funny, or something a little fantastic when it comes to Christmas movies. This is a little too real, if that makes sense. Or it's just like, life's not that great. So, here's a guy that knows life's not great. But I do admit the story is better than I thought it would be, and I wish it wasn't trying to be a comedy, because I feel like if it was just a story about an alcoholic Santa who befriends a kid, you can have the con man aspect in there, but like it doesn't need to be a comedy. It's a compelling enough story. Would it have been as successful as it was if it wasn't a comedy? No, I admit that.
That's for sure.
But as far as quality goes, it doesn't need to be a comedy.
Yeah.
Because the parts that I found myself really invested in are the parts where he's kind of turning a new leaf, realizing that, hey, this kid's kind of special, and I kind of want to help him out if I can. That's the part that I really liked about it, and is honestly the most Christmassy part about it. Everything else, you could take Christmas out of it and it wouldn't really change anything. But, that is kind of like a Christmas-esque. It's kind of like Scrooge a little bit, where it's just like he didn't get haunted, but he kind of saw the error of his ways in a way. So
Sorry,
the comedy kind of just gets in the way for me.
Trying to look for somebody. I had totally forgotten. I guess I didn't really know her at the time, but Octavia Spencer was in this.
Yes, yeah.
That blew my little pea-brained mind.
When you see her, it's not a close-up of her, but the second I heard her voice, I was like, is that Octavia?
Yeah.
Is that Octavia?
And then I'm trying to remember the chick's name. She was in Mad TV, and she plays
Alex
Lois.
Borstein. Yeah, Alex Borstein.
Yeah, I forgot she was in this too.
Yeah. There's also Tom McGowan.
But she's only in it for like a minute.
Yeah.
Max.
So same with Octavia Spencer. She's not in it that long. Tom McGowan, who plays, I think his name's Pat in Heavyweights. He's the camp counselor in the show, the movie Heavyweights. As soon as I heard his voice coming down the escalator after being fired as Santa, I was just like, oh, it's Pat from Heavyweights.
It's my man.
There's a lot of people in this that like I feel most people would recognize, even if they don't know the name or know where they're from. They would definitely recognize them.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie, it's got its target audience.
Yeah.
It's mostly for people who are tired of watching all of the Christmas movies that have their themes that play all the time. This
I
is
get
something
that, but there are better ones.
This
than
is something dirty and different, for sure.
But there are better ones than this as well.
Yeah.
That do similar things. But again, I'm not mad that it exists. I'm not mad that people like it. Had I been an adult when it came out, I probably would have appreciated it a little bit more. But after 20 years of hype, it just doesn't live up to it, in my opinion.
If I hadn't watched it to death, yes, that sentence equates. If I hadn't watched it to death, I probably would enjoy it today. But god damn, did they ingrain it into my mind.
I have a few movies like that, so I understand.
Yeah.
Sound of Music.
Sound of Music.
Grease. My sisters watch both those on a loop.
Yep. Even like Step Brothers is good still, but like that was another one we watched like all the fucking time. A lot of Will Ferrell movies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I learned something that kind of made me a little sad about. I'm trying to figure out which movie it was. Will Ferrell was as old as I am now in a movie.
Is it Old School?
I think he's a little older than me in Old School, but it's a movie that I kind of.
Night at the Roxbury?
2001. A big movie that came out in 2001 is what it would be. What the shit? What the fuck? 2001. Here we go. In Zoolander. He's the age I am now. He's the age I am now in Zoolander.
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell's just one of those people that always looked old. He looked old in SNL, even though he's in his 20s in SNL. Yeah. But the fact that in Zoolander he's as old as I am now. What am I doing with my life? What am I doing?
What are we all doing? Listen, Harrison Ford didn't do Han Solo until whenever the fuck he did it. I think we're okay.
That's my favorite fact. Harrison Ford didn't do Han Solo until he did Harrison Ford. Until he did Han Solo.
I forget when he did it. I think he was like 40 or some shit. I can't remember.
Well, let's find out. Harrison Ford. Oh, goddamn.
A lot of actors didn't get their big break until later. We're going to be okay, goddamn.
We are going to be okay. Or not. Who knows? There's a lot more people who failed than succeed.
I think I'm going to live my day-to-day life. That's for sure.
Yes. He was 35. Okay.
Oh, shit. It's coming up.
Oh, I got one more year. I got one more year to make it big.
We got to do something.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I didn't like it as much as I was hoping I would like it. But that's probably because of 20 years of people overhyping it.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
All right. So that does it for the review of Bad Santa. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether that goes to the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. This was my pick, so I get to go first. You know, I went into this really wanting to put it on the shelf. I was excited to watch it. You know, I like kind of like the misanthrope thing. A lot of my movies are about misanthropes, and by a lot I mean one. It just happens to be my most successful one, and I just kind of connect with misanthropes a lot for different reasons. Not the alcoholic part of it with this.
No, never.
But the you know, the people are jerks part of it. Yeah. But it just ultimately wasn't as funny as I was hoping. It wasn't as clever as I was hoping. I think that's the biggest thing. It's just kind of like, hey, he's dressed as Santa and he's cursing and kids are spitting on his face. Mm-hmm. And that's the joke. So I was a little disappointed in that. So I would say that this does not go on the shelf, unfortunately.
Ooh, wow. What am I going to do over here? So I would say, personally, that for me, I've watched it to death. I don't ever want to fucking watch this again.
I'm sorry I picked it.
But again, not that it's a bad movie. I just have seen it to death. I think, though, that being said, I do think that a Christmas shelf should always have variety to it, and it shouldn't be the same types of movies at all times on that shelf. Like fucking Nightmare Before Christmas, or Christmas movie, or Christmas Story, or fucking National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I think there should be more variety. And
First of all,
this has different variety to it.
First of all, some of those that you said are great movies. I'm not going to say which ones.
They're all great movies. I just do not want to watch them 35 times.
I don't appreciate your tone
time.
Is what I'm saying. I don't appreciate your tone.
I love every single one of those movies. But I can't watch any of those anymore. I literally don't even watch TV during Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm just so tired of it. But for the Christmas shelf, I do think there should be variety. And I think all those movies I did name would probably end up on that shelf. And I think this probably should too, just for the variety. And it is a good movie. It's for people who aren't necessarily Mike or I. But as for our KFR shelf, probably not. I don't know. Yeah. It was okay. It was a good movie.
But yeah, I think there are just better movies that do the whole shtick better. I can't really think of any at the moment, but it's just, I don't know. I was hoping for more. But yes, Bad Santa, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, does not make it on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. that brings us to next week's assignment, Glenn.
Oh,
It is your turn to bring us some holiday cheer.
yes.
What
God
are we
damn it.
watching?
You picked a movie that I watched, and now it's time for me to pick a movie that you've watched that I have not. Oh, this one's gonna tickle your fancy. It's gonna make the loins go tingly wingly. We are going to watch White Christmas.
I never saw the sunshine so bright, never saw things going so right. Noticing the days hurrying by when you're in love, my heart it fly. Oh,
Lord help the mister who comes between me and my sister. And Lord help the sister who comes between me and my man.
The two greatest figures in show business, Bing and Danny, as two ex-GIs who form the perfect partnership. Rosemary and Vera Ellen as the sisters who have them in a spin. With Dean Jagger as the unemployed general they take under their wing.
Apparently, there's still quite a bit about show business I don't understand.
oh, it'll come to you, sir. Just takes time. We wouldn't be any good as generals.
You weren't any good as privates.
Your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
This bad boy is going to be on Netflix. Came out all the way in 1954. A successful song and dance team become romantically involved with a sister act and team up to save the failing Vermont Inn of their former commanding general. Wow, that's insane that I said those things.
Yes.
Directed by Michael Curtis, written by Norman Krasna. They're both named Norman. That's crazy. Two writers named Norman. You saw my brain just do like a hamster wheel just there?
Yes, people can have the same name, Glenn.
God damn, what a world we live in.
Yeah.
Written by Norman Krasna, also written by Norman Panama, Melvin Frank, and then it stars, oh God, they look like an L on my screen. Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, Vera Ellen, Dean Jagger, Mary Wickles. That sounds like a fake name too. That's Wickles.
It's
It's
Wicks.
not even Wickles.
It's
It's
Wicks.
Wicks. Oh man, that's why it was a fake name. It was Wicks. And plenty of other people, but I have never seen this movie before. And like I was just stating, I want to see different Christmas movies. And somehow I've escaped my whole life without seeing White Christmas.
So, the funny thing is, I picked a movie that your family ran into the ground.
Yep.
You picked a movie my family ran into the ground, which I used to hate until like 5-6 years ago. I rewatched it and I was like, it brings me holiday cheer. I'm not going to say if it's good or not,
Yeah.
but I don't hate it as much as I did when I was a teenager because my parents and sisters washed it into the ground. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you can't stop me singing next week, so I apologize to everyone.
And I don't want to, goddammit.
Yeah,
There's also not many Danny Kaye movies that I've seen.
Danny Kaye.
It's like on one hand. Like it's less.
Here's a hot take that everyone who knows Danny Kaye agrees with that I've talked to. Danny Kaye is a more complete talent than Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra and whoever else is in Singing in the Rain. Hold on. Singing. Gene Kelly. He's a more complete talent than Gene Kelly, Bing Crosby, and Frank Sinatra. Now, I'm not saying that he's better at those particular talents as those people, but he's more complete.
Wait, have I never watched a Danny Kaye movie?
I'm pretty sure I made you watch The Court Jester.
Did I finish it though?
Oh, you fucking piece of shit. You better have finished it. The pellet with the poison is the vessel with the pestle. The vessel with the flagon with the dragon is the brew that is true.
Yeah, so I don't think I fully finished Court Jester. I think I got a good portion of the way through, but I never actually went through the whole thing. This is going to be my first actual full-length Danny Kaye film.
I'm going to need you to watch Court Jester in its entirety. I admit,
fine, I'll do it twofer.
The beginning is boring. Like, I fully admit that. When when I first watched The Court Jester as a child, I was like, this is boring. And then once it got going, I was like, this is the fucking funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I said that when I was 6 in front of my pastor father. He said, excuse me.
He said, boy.
So,
Wow.
boy.
This,
you
this,
go
young, this young child got a mouth on him.
But yeah, I'm excited to watch White Christmas. And I
very
want
good.
you to watch A Court Jester and give it a fair shake.
I shall shake it for sure.
Okay. So, White Christmas is our assignment for next week. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I'm Mike KFR.
And I am Glen KFR.
And that will do it until next week when Glenn and I are sisters. Sisters. Glenn, you'll get that next week.
Yeah, I'll understand the reference.
Stop the mister.
Ooh.
It's,
wow.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.